Welcome back to Peaking into Success podcast. We are now on episode 8. Today we're joined by a current goalkeeper for Derby County who has played over 500 appearances for a host of different clubs up and down the country. We have Scott Loach. Hello Scott, how are you today?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Brilliant. So
warm.
It is warm today. So we're just going to start off with kind of your career, how you got into the sport, kind of the ups and downs, England call-ups, and where you currently are now. So, of course, I know that you were born in Nottingham, and kind of how did your footballing story start from there?
Yeah, I was born in Nottingham, but I wasn't there very long. We moved down to Essex due to my dad's job.
Okay.
And I'm quite lucky, really, because the town we lived in had a decent little football club, but it was very much, like one of these towns you get where it's like, it's just a bubble, like everyone in the town knows everyone, and
I know
like
what you mean.
the football club was the heart of the town, and had one high street and everyone knew everyone, and there was like 3 different primary schools, and I remember we all used to play each other in the little rivalries and that. So when we went to set, so the standard of football and living there is what really helped me, because it was such a footballing community. So I kind of got into football then as an 8-year-old. Went to Ipswich on trial as a striker. And then the goalie got injured, so I tried to go in goal, and it's like a thinking face was driving the wrong way, it was hitting me, and the scout just went, look, we'll bring you back, but as a goalie. And I just loved football at the time, so I was like, all right. And then, so that's pretty much how I became a goalie from the age of 8 years old, just by chucking myself about through someone's injury, really. And then, yeah, it just developed from there. It's just something from the age of 8. I always wanted to be a footballer. Even in secondary school, I remember standing up in English, saying I wanted to be a footballer and wanted to be married with wife and kids and stuff, and everyone kind of laughed at me, do you know what I mean? So, it's not ever changed at any point from when I first realised what I wanted to do to now, and I'm still probably as hungry now, hence why I've just been to the gym this morning at 35 as I was at 8 years old.
No, that's perfect. I mean, was there any kind of, when you were 8, was there any kind of goalkeeping idol or inspiration that you wanted to try and base your game off, or still someone that you inspired to be like on the pitch?
Obviously I was a big, I was a big Man United fan, and because of obviously Beckham, Scholes, Cantona, Peter Schmeichel, so
Yeah.
watching him was incredible. And then obviously I went to watch Ipswich for a bit, and when I was there in the academy, I got to see Richard Wright train. Like, they were very good at letting the young ones watch the first team train. So people might think, oh, bit of a hero, but like Richard Wright, as a young kid when you see someone and it sticks with you forever.
Yeah.
So seeing him train was amazing. So although I shouldn't really admit it, being a Derby fan, had a soft spot for Ipswich, and then obviously got to play there. So that was nice. But as growing up, Peter Schmeichel was probably my idol. But again, because of the town I lived in, and my dad's job was a caretaker of a school, we were very fortunate that we had 2 old grass tennis courts as a garden, basically, that weren't used anymore. So you managed to get 2 5-a-side goals. So I'm not kidding you. We had nearly 20 kids every night over like different ages, and I think because I just got thrown in amongst my older brother and his year group, it was just kind of like, just be brave and keep the ball out of the net. So like playing with all them, as daft as it sounds, they were my idols, because I wanted to just play with them, do you know what I mean? I wanted to be in that environment and play with older kids.
No, that's perfect. And I think that's nice that you've kind of given footballing icons that everyone knows, but also it starts at home, doesn't it? Passion, like your idols being your family and your dad and your brothers, kind of, if they're driving you on, of course, at a young age especially, that's going to make you want to progress and progress quicker if they're older. For example, with your goalkeeping career, what would you say that your biggest achievement's been in the game?
Still being in the game now for the 20th season.
No, that is a...
You can get carried away with, like, look, I've been seriously lucky, like, honestly, and I probably won't really appreciate it until I finish and my little boy's a bit older, like, and I get all the shirts out and stuff. But I've been in England squads. I've been on the bench in the FA Cup semi-final against Man United. Played against Chelsea 3 times, and they're all amazing occasions. But I think to still be going at 35 now, the way the game's going, and entering my 20th year, and say, look, I've been an established professional, and still fit, and touch wood, still being fit and healthy, and not really having a major injury, then I don't think I could really ask for more. It doesn't matter what level. To me, I've achieved my dream, and I want to, and this is what I'm still an 8-year-old kid wanting to live that dream and keep going. And even with my coaching, I put that same passion in. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of trying to pass on what I've had to the others, and I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And football for me, family aside, is everything. Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%. And I mean, you kind of touched a bit on the goalkeeping. So of course, I know you've set up your own goalkeeping coaching. Kind of, what was the inspiration? Was it always after being a goalkeeper and finishing your career to kind of bring on the next career, or was it something you kind of fell into as you kind of got older?
I'll be honest, I love coffee, mate, right? So before lockdown, I told me the idea, you know, do I open a coffee shop? Because I'm quite a social person, so when I finish, I need them hours to be on my feet and be active, and I was like, do I do this, do I do that? And then lockdown came, and it wasn't until a friend of mine, and he's now Mansfield Town's goalie coach, Adam Collin, he had a really successful goalkeeping school. Nice. And he said, just, you know, come and coach for us, and I instantly fell in love with it. And then I thought, you know what, I again, funny enough, live in a village, which is like a bubble.
Okay.
And I thought, well, if I can kind of start here, and I literally start with 2 poles and 6 kids, and now I have 100 kids every Wednesday and 4 coaches. So it's incredible that there's that many goalies, and we're now hopefully looking to start one in Derby in the new season on a Monday night as well. So hopefully if we can expand that and just keep giving these kids experiences. I mean, the good thing about us is sometimes I don't actually coach, but I'll join in with the kids, so they actually get to train with a pro, and then I get to see them all, or I'll get one of the young pros from Derby down, or we'll get guests in. So we're trying to give them that opportunity that kids don't normally get, you know, to meet people who've been there and done that, and because I think until you actually smell it and see it, it's very, very hard to really understand what real football's like. So without rabbiting up, like I took the goalie school, I took them into Derby for a day into the training ground.
Okay, nice.
And it wasn't until all the parents and the kids saw the facilities and the grass and the gym and everything like that, and they were like, oh my God, like, wow. And then the kids were like, met some of the pros, and they were telling them what they did outside of football, like they're eating the gym and stuff like that. And the changing, especially the older ones who now have seen it and tasted it, want a bit more. And I just think it's nice to give that opportunity back that I had.
Oh, no, 100%. And I mean, it's good that Derby are being supportive of that. Is, of course, some clubs don't understand that when you get older, you need to find your career afterwards. And it's good that the Derby is supporting you to kind of, bring them in, kind of see that and support you to help with your career after football and after being with them as a club, however long that may be. Moving on slightly onto Derby, of course, you joined Derby at kind of a very bizarre situation, of course, being down into League One, something, of course, you've got experience at the lower league, so how did that feel coming in? Of course, they just had the takeover, they were nearly non-existent as a club, so what was your feeling and thoughts of joining Derby firstly, and kind of how it's changed over the season since you've been there?
It's a really strange one, because I was obviously at Chesterfield last year, and don't get me wrong, I loved it. I really loved it. I played every single minute of every game, and it got to the playoffs, and then it got to the point where a new manager came in at Chesterfield, and then you realise, and no disrespect to him, he's doing great, he's a great manager, but you know sometimes you face fits or managers just don't dislike you, but I mean, like, you're not just not their type of player.
Yeah.
And obviously using my experience, I could feel that, so it was kind of like, I know what's going to happen here in the summer. So I kind of went into Derby anyway to speak to them about coaching, and they just said, look, we're looking for a number 3, would you be interested? And as soon as I heard that, I was like, right, I don't want anything more now. And the reason being is, the last 5 or 6 years, I played every single game of every season. Yeah. So it's not like I necessarily needed the games, but it was now, right, I've just turned 34, it's like, how can I prolong my career now? And that next stage, and I think going to Derby, being in a club that size and working with people of that stature, and and stuff like that. For me, it was a no-brainer. So I'm really glad it got through in the end, because obviously it nearly didn't because of the takeover. And fair play to Chesterfield, they were happy just to let me go. They were great as well. So, but yeah, it was a completely different environment when I came in. We had obviously Rossini as manager, and working with likes of Conor Hurahan, Dave McGoldrick, and people like that. You're just thinking, wow, this is a level above.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it took me 2 months to properly, I think, maybe 3 months to really kind of not get my feet in the door with the lads. I was fine with the lads and the gym stuff, but think, right, I'm up to standard now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I've got no shame in saying that. I think it took me a while, and then by that time, the new manager left and came in, and then who luckily I'd worked with before, so it made it a little bit easier, that transition. No. And yeah, they're really, like you said, they're so supportive. They're great guys. I think what it is with me, I can only talk for myself, is they know what I'm there for. They know my role, and I'm there to support the other goalies and the young goalies and set standards in training. The academy know I'm there to learn and do my badges and train, and also I know it, so we're all buying into the same thing, and there's no if I'm not playing, it's not like I'm kicking off and wanting to play, or if I'm not doing something because I know my role.
Yeah,
so I think perfect. because we all know exactly where we stand, I think that's why they're being really, really supportive, because we're all giving each other 100% in every aspect, if that makes sense.
100%, and I mean, I know of course with some goalkeeper unions, when you have your trio or your 4 keepers, if they don't know who is number 1 and who is number 2, of course there can be a bit of tension, there can be a bit of unclarity. If, of course, for example, at Derby, you know that Joe is number 1, you all try and help push him on, instead of course, you're battling, and that can, of course, cause tension. So it's good that you've said that all of you get on and kind of help each other, know each other's roles. So that, I mean, I see that as a positive. Moving on, of course, to do with Derby and the upcoming season, of course, what are your hopes for the club, or what do you hope the club can achieve this season?
I think the goal has to be promotion. I think it has to be, I'm not saying we're going to get promoted, I'm not going to say we're in the league. I think obviously the size of the club, everybody within the club, everyone associated with the club, fans, everyone, the goal has to be promotion.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what we'll go for. But then you've just got to look around at the league. You've got Reading, Blackpool, Peterborough, Bolton, Wickham, Lincoln. You've still got, it's not just a foregone conclusion because Sheffield Wednesday and Ipswich are out of the league. Do you know what I mean? So
100%.
But what I do think, I think we've got a team in place of experienced players. I think we've got a team in place of management that's got us out of the league before. And I think we're 1 year better off knowing what the league's like and what to expect when you go to certain grounds or play against certain teams. So again, I think people won't want to play us because they'll fear it. But we've got to earn that right then as well. Do you know what I mean? So I think for me personally, my badges start this year. I'd love to get my badges done, and I'd love to help Joe play another 46, 50 odd games. I really like the kid. He's an unbelievable pro, and I think he's another goalie that can kick on again. And I'd love to maybe see one of the young ones come through and make it the debut, maybe in that Papa John's Cup, and be a part of that and help produce that side as well. So for me, I know I've not got too long left in the full-time game. Do you know what I mean? So I want to be there, and I just know I want to be there and help others, and basically just go out on a high, really. And hopefully, if we can get a promotion, that'd be fantastic. Or if I can see others do well, then even better.
Brilliant. I mean, you touched on, of course, Joe, and how you think he's good and wanting to kick him on. Who do you think the best player is over all the clubs that you've been with, that you've gone into training maybe on your first day and thought, wow, there's something special? Is there a particular player, maybe outfield or in goal, that you've kind of seen and been like, wow?
Player-wise, I'm going back to the 21s. You had Jack Wilshere, who was just, I was there. I was in the same squad as, when he first broke onto the scene as a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And they put him with the 21s. It was just frightening. And then you obviously had your Welbecks, and the list goes on of people that played in that team. Tom Huddleston, unbelievable technical player. I could go on forever about them. But actually played with, goalies are all different, because sometimes you'll meet, you'll meet trainers that aren't so great, but in games they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
Or then you'll meet the opposite, who are great trainers and can't quite do it in a game. And I've been lucky to work with Ben Foster and Joe Hart, and they were two completely different. Like Ben could just literally play a game of two-touch and go and goal and be the best goalie ever. Joe Hart was just a completely different animal. Like, he was just, for me at the time, he was the best in the world. Do you know what I mean? He was next level. The way he trained, the way he played.
100%.
That was
when you were coming into the senior squad, wasn't it? Sorry, with Joe Hart and Ben Foster. That was kind of when you got that call up to the senior squad due to the injuries, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I obviously worked with Joe Ben as a young lad when I was at Watford. He was playing for Watford then, so I worked with him close day out. So, and then on the flip side, you have goalies like Joe Wildsmith, who, for me, just makes it look easy. It doesn't. You don't. Obviously, he makes great saves.
Yeah.
But you don't really recall him making mistakes, and you don't really recall him making absolute work. You just think, God, he makes goalkeeping look easy. Like, it's just effortless.
That's what you want, though, right? In a keeper, someone that doesn't look panicked on the ball or looks like they're straining to get to saves or passes, or you just want someone to have control and have control of that kind of area. He's brave. You see his starting positions for crosses. He's always there, and I mean, I pull my own groin just watching him kick it. I've never seen someone kick it so far and hard without even trying. Like, so for me, I think he's got absolutely everything again to kick on. So yeah, I've been really lucky to work with some good goalies. It's hopefully they'll say the same about me in different ways, but I like to think I bring a bit of life to or atmosphere to the session. I don't know, or mess about a bit, but you need that just to break the ice a little bit, have a bit of fun. Exactly, and I mean, with you getting your coaching badges, hopefully you can coach them as well, kind of on the field as well, and kind of give that extra experience and knowledge to the game as you've been in them situations yourself.
I think, especially with the younger ones, I think when it comes to coaching, this is how I look at it anyway. I think if I was to do the first team tomorrow, they don't really need that much coaching in respect to, they know it, do you know what I mean? They're at that level, they know it.
Yeah.
It's more about repetition and maybe working towards the opponent at the weekend. So say if it's a lot of crosses, you do a lot of crosses or whatever. But definitely with the younger ones, and I feel that's what I can pass on, is like, if you let one in, I've been there. I had the worst game of my life for England under 21s against Germany in front of, I think there was 1 million viewers watching it on telly. Like, I've been there. It doesn't matter. It's a game of football. Do you know what I mean? You're still going home to your bed and your family. So and I think you can put that, if I can transfer that mentality towards them and say, look, I've been there. Yeah. Can you do this? Then I think that kind of gives me an extra chink in my arm, if that makes sense.
100%, and I think that's you kind of passing on your wisdom and your advice to the younger generation, which of course hopefully will develop them. You've mentioned England briefly, under 21s, and of course the senior call up. Of course, I've seen that you played for the England C team. So what's kind of the difference in levels and kind of the kind of atmosphere around the England camps compared to under 21 seniors, and then of course the C team, is you've done all three and you've been lucky to do all three, as not many people have.
Do you know what? The England C thing was, forget the result. I mean, we got battered and we played on a pitch that had stones on it, and it was awful. But the atmosphere and the training was incredible, mate. Honestly, it really surprised me. All the lads were I don't know, it was because we only away for 2 or 3 days, it was we were all dead giggly and had a proper good time together, and the standard of the training was really high, really surprised me. I remember saying to one of the lads from Chesterfield who was with me at the time, the standard was really, really good. Fully enjoyed it. It was a couple of hot days as well in North Wales, so the scenery was nice. It was on the sea, and obviously the standard was, and the facilities and stuff were probably nowhere near what they were with England, but for that level and that, there's some very, very good players at that level. It's just about opportunity, isn't it?
This is it, and them getting the stage kind of, because I mean, it's not as widely received and not many people know about it. So of course, you being a name that's kind of been in the senior squad and coming into England too, of course, hopefully will give more exposure to it, and hopefully if more players kind of give that a chance and kind of push for that instead of kind of having the time off, hopefully it'll bring more exposure to the lower leagues. As of course I know that Wrexham and kind of Ben Foster and Notts County, of course, a club that's near you and that you've played for in the past, have kind of brought exposure to non-league, so hopefully more people can and kind of grow that sport in that sense. As of course, yeah, we have the 4 leagues, but growing what we have under it is we've got so many teams and so many good players that are unseen, and hopefully with your coaching as well, you can unearth some gems that way as well.
Hopefully, I think non-league football, I love it. Like, I think it's fantastic. Like, it's something that I'll definitely dip back into after I've done, because you have the luxury of playing part-time and stuff like that. It's something I definitely want to have a couple of years playing in. Because the standard's quite high. There's still some big clubs in there, you know, and even financially as well. But you know, you get a good wage now. I think the standard's getting higher, the clubs are getting bigger. But I think it's just because there's such a big gap from the Premier League and what filters down to the Football League. It's harder for them players to get in the league now. So all these non-league teams are kind of soaking up, like the lads that were my age, for instance, or you know, the ones that didn't quite make it at academies. And I think the level's getting higher and higher, and the fan support's getting higher and higher, and hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next 5-10 years, you can have 7 or 8 leagues where it's just really, really high standard all the way through, and you can go down and watch your local team, and there's a good atmosphere and stuff like that, and that's the way I'd love to see it. I think COVID's kind of brought that on together as well, because people just want to go and support these teams as well.
No, 100%. I think, of course, local football's kind of needs to be pushed more, and I mean, I agree with, if there is 8 leagues that can be kind of widely received, and you kind of, people can support, say, a local club as well as like the main club. Is not everyone's lucky to, of course, have a big club in their area, so if they can support them and also support another club, that's okay kind of thing. Is, I mean, if they're never going to clash, that's fine. And as you said, you supported United, you like Ipswich, and you've got a soft spot for them, as well as, of course, having soft spots for other teams because you played for them, and that should be fine. That shouldn't be an issue.
I've just got soft spots for anyone with a decent goalie, mate. So I'm just a goalie fan these days.
No, fair enough. That, I mean, and that's the appreciation of football, isn't it? You just appreciate the players. Moving on. I was going to ask you, would you be able to make kind of, if you could make a 5-side team that you were manager of players you played with, would you be able to name a team? Can you think of any 5 that you could kind of make a team with, that you could manage?
Yeah, mate, I've thought about this a lot, so it's like I've read your mind. I'm going purely off, like, well, I'm going for Cashin from Derby and centre, because he is an absolute magnet to the ball. So
100%.
Ball will hit his face, you'll clear him off the line, so he keeps your goals out. And then midfield, I'm going. My best friend in football is Hartlepool captain. His name's Nicky Featherstone. I think he's played about 500 games, but I think if you have friends in there and the people you trust as well,
that's it. They'll kind of do it for you, won't they? If you've got faith in them, they'll have faith in you, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then I'm going to have. Then I'm going to have David McGoldrick in there.
Yeah.
And this is a toss-up between 2. I played with a lad called Danny Graham, who played for Sunderland, Swansea, Watford. He was one of the best finishers I've ever worked with. And he could just score out of nowhere. Or I'd go for Conor Hourihane just because he's unbelievable on the ball. So I think I'm going to go Didsey and Conor Hourihane. So I've got a nice balance, Bevs, and then Cashin. And goalie, if I'm the manager, I'm going Joe Hart in goal. I wanted to stay away from the England stuff, but
no, I mean,
in fact, I'm going to put Joe Wildsmith in there because I want to stay away from the England stuff.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. And I mean, it's funny that they're all kind of players that you've Derby based, so no, that's
Yeah,
nice.
I think
like
that. I think because they're fresh on my mind, but I think because I've been away from that level for so long, you kind of forget and appreciate how good these lads are and how much they do it day in day out, and the level of them.
That's it, and I mean, especially you mentioned McGoldrick and Horahan, and they're kind of reaching the ends of their career, and they're still managing to get the game time in and kind of make the performances. I mean, McGoldrick's had a brilliant season with the amount of goals that he's produced for the club and kind of got them to the place he got.
Well, you know what it is? These lads day in day out do their gym stuff before training, do their gym stuff after training, do their swimming, their recovery, their pool, and for any kids listening to this, that is why they've had these careers and they're still going. Like, they're at it every single day in every aspect. They don't just turn up and go home. Like these, you know, I'm trying to think of the older lads in the dressing room. So James Collins, McGoldrick, Hourahan. Trying to think of the other older ones in there. But anyway, they're every single day. You won't see a day where they're not doing something in the gym.
No, and that's it. Of course, that shows that even when you get to the level that you need to maintain it to, of course, get the success. And I mean, with yourself, you've got 20 seasons under your belt, so that just shows you give the commitment and the effort to it, you're gonna achieve something. I had one question for you, for your own opinion. Of course, your league debut for Watford was, of course, the ghost goal. Kind of when that happened, and kind of after the match, did the referee ever come to you and say, "Oh, kind of, I made the wrong call," or was anything said afterwards when, of course, it was seen back about the goal?
Nothing. So I'm still waiting for him to apologise to me for this day, and that being the first goal I let in. So hopefully this goes viral and Stuart Atwell sends me an apology.
That's it. I mean, it's still...
Listen, mistakes happen, but Jesus Christ, I'm not sure if that's a mistake or like a glitch in the system, mate. Like something went horribly wrong that day.
I mean, that's as obvious as, of course, the Lampard kind of Germany one, with how obvious that it was. They're the only two goals kind of in my lifetime that I can think of that were very clear and obvious, and the decision went the other way. So, I mean,
yeah.
Hopefully he says something to you, or he refs a game or is involved in a game around you again where he can come up and say it to you personally, because, I mean, everyone is noticeable of that goal, and I mean, it's gone down as kind of the ghost goal in English football, so it's kind of...
Look, I mean, to be fair to him, like, you've got to give him credit. He came out of that, and now he's an established Premier League ref, and he, you know, he's gone on and had a very good career. So, like, he's bounced back from that, because it could have been quite easy to crumble. So maybe that's why he didn't come out. He just stayed strong or whatever. I get that. But if he watches this or comes across this, I just want him to acknowledge it and say, right, I'm sorry, that was the first goal you let in.
No, 100%. And I mean,
so,
you've...
Although I probably wouldn't have been as known if it weren't for that. So I've got to thank him for the same at the same time.
I mean, it is a thing that comes up quite a lot, and I mean, I see it all around the place, and I mean, even on YouTube, like I looked at it again the other day just to refresh myself, and the amount of views that it's got, and like the controversy around it, kind of is good. Is, I mean, you were a young goalkeeper at the time, so I mean, it's good that it didn't make you crumble, and kind of you went on and have had over 500 appearances for clubs. But also it's kind of opened people's eyes, and maybe that could have been one of the decisions that kind of brought VAR in, is, of course, if VAR kind of was in them times, it would have got ruled out and it wouldn't have been a goal.
It probably did me the world of good, probably settled my nerves, because it's like, well, it can't get any worse than this, can it? So.
Exactly. A quick thing, I don't know if you know about this achievement, but it's kind of something that I found. Of course, you were Hartlepool Player of the Season 3 times in a row. And the only other goalkeeper that I can find anywhere in England that has done that is David De Gea. So, I mean, and literally that is in stats, that's everything that I've looked up. So, I mean, that's a big achievement as well, and something that, of course, that I think you're notable for. I mean, Man United and Hartlepool are different ends of the spectrum of clubs, and I mean, I assume you would have had more saves to make than David De Gea, but that's kind of a big podium to kind of put you on, that the only other goalkeeper that has done it 3 times in a row is someone of that stature and of that ilk. What are your thoughts about that, and how do you find your time of them 3 seasons at Hartlepool?
I loved Hartlepool. Like, it was good. Really enjoyed it. Got good friends there. Still really good friends to the day. And I don't think you really read too much into accolades. It's nice to get them. I just enjoy playing, mate. And if I can help out and get that, then, or being part of something, then yeah, I don't really have too much to kind of say about it, which is daft. Just glad, just grateful, really. Just grateful to have that opportunity to be able to do that.
No, 100%. And I mean, it comes across it, like, from talking to you for this time, like, your passion for the sport and just you wanting to help, whether it be the younger generation or the keepers that you're working in day out at Derby. So, I mean, I appreciate that. I think that kind of fills kind of that divide that people sometimes think, oh, footballers are like on this pedestal. And I mean, this conversation, and hopefully it shows during this time that we've had, how humble you are and how you're just a normal guy that just wants to help out and try and push others on as well as himself, which is, I mean, a big credit.
But this is how I look at it. You've got plumbers, you've got electricians. I can't do any of that stuff. Yeah. Literally, I can't put a picture on the wall. I leave my missus to do it. I can't literally. I can vacuum or empty the dishwasher. That's about it. I'm just lucky that my job's kind of publicised and put more. Do you know what I mean? So I just look at it no different than anyone else. Everyone else has got their own skill and their own talent. I've just been fortunate enough that mine is what it is on a daily basis.
No, perfect.
And I think that's how you have to look at it, because if you want to have any success or keep producing or working with kids or longevity in your career, as soon as people think you're an idiot, you're done, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, I just wanted to round up with kind of 2, like, non-footballing questions for you. So the first one's going to be, of course, in my eyes, you're known for your tattoos and you've got quite a nice collection. What is your favourite tattoo, or is there one that you're wanting to get that you're kind of looking forward to?
I've got portraits of my kids. I need to have a portrait of my third kid. So my whole body's done, you see, not my legs.
Yeah.
So I need to have a portrait of my littlest one, and then my wife's a photographer.
Okay.
So we're just in the process of getting something drawn up where it's actually it's a portrait of my wife holding a camera, but within the lens it's going to be a picture of the 3 kids.
Oh, that's nice.
But I don't want to get that done until I've done all my other little bits and bobs, because I want that to be my last one.
No, 100%.
So,
I mean, that's a massive lie. It won't be my last one. I'll just keep going. But, you've got the itch for it.
Yeah, that's that one.
And then my second kind of bizarre question, which is kind of out of the footballing world a bit, is kind of, do you have a go-to karaoke song or kind of initiation song?
Have you been listening to my conversations at home? This is so weird, mate, honestly. So last night, without going into too much detail, so we've just been to a wedding abroad, and a few people got up and sang, like, the next day, like at this barbecue thing. And I was in the shower. I wasn't in the shower with my missus. I was in the shower, and she was in there doing her makeup and that. And I just started like chatting rubbish and saying, "Can you guess what song I would have sung if she was up there?" And she guessed it, because I always sing it as my initiation song. Okay. I mean, can you imagine if I sung that? And my go-to song is Bon Jovi, "Living on a Prayer."
Oh, nice.
Just because, like, I'm a big rock fan. Like, I'm off to Download Festival at the weekend on Sunday and stuff like that. I like all that kind of stuff, but yeah. I would have gone Living on a Prayer any day of the week, mate, just to get everyone involved. Because everyone knows that song, whether you like that music or not.
Exactly, and I think you always choose a song that people can kind of join in with, instead of just like you stood up there on your own singing and everyone just staring at you.
Yeah, and the good with that, you can shout and kind of go for it and get people involved. There's nothing worse than when people actually try and sing and they can't sing. It's horrible, mate. You just want to curl up into a box and disappear.
100%. I mean, that's it. Thank you for kind of coming on. I kind of wanted to ask kind of where can people find you? Also find the goalkeeping coaching if they're interested in that, or have younger ones that are interested in that. So feel free to say them.
Yeah, my Instagram's the best place at the minute. We're obviously, like I said, my wife's a photographer, so we're in the process of setting up a really good website with a booking system and like a contact page on that, so you can talk through that, because obviously it's always hard to go back and forth to Instagram because I'm trying not to be on my phone all the time. So Instagram at the moment, and then they can follow the links of what we're going to set up there on in the future.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, and I hope that your season goes well as well.
No, brilliant. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here anytime. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Peaking to Success podcast. If you enjoyed, please make sure you follow us on Spotify as well as Instagram, where you can see all the updates of who is coming up, as well as who has already been on the podcast, as well as Twitter, where there is information and interaction from me on there as well. Thank you.